call this meeting to order at 6:32. I will proceed with establishing the quorum. I'll have roll call. Mr. LaFoyle.
Here.
Ms. Here.
I have to be here sitting next to Richard.
Yes, Mr. Flores.
Present.
Mr. Salyer.
Present.
Now, Mr. Salinas, Dr. Mackey.
Present.
Okay, we do have established a quorum, and we'll start. This regular special meeting of the Judson Board of Trustees is hereby called to order at 6:33. I am very pleased that you have taken time to join us this evening. As the Judson Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals and policies and oversee the management of the district. We are responsible for approving budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and to listen to reports from the superintendent. We are not here to make administrative or management decisions pertaining to the daily operation of the district. This is the responsibility of the superintendent. In compliance with state government code on open meetings, tonight's agenda has been appropriately posted. This is a meeting in public, not a meeting of the public. As our guests, you are welcome to observe and listen. These proceedings are being video and audio recorded and will become part of Judson's permanent legal record. In order that the tape adequately reflects these proceedings, please silence your mobile phones and refrain from talking while others are speaking. Since it is legally mandated that these proceedings are recorded accurately, I might have to ask for order periodically should I notice that disruptions are interfering with our recording capabilities. Once again, we extend to each of you a sincere welcome and thank you for your interest in Judson ISD. Jackie, do we have anybody that have signed up to be heard? Okay. We'll go ahead and do no citizens to be heard. We're going to have the presentation and discussing regarding superintendent search firms. The first firm that is here is McShane, Olivares, and Estes. And I believe Mr. Ruben Olivares will be making the presentation. Mr. Olivares, normally we would like about 15 minutes. If you need more, just let us know. And then to leave some time for question and answer. Okay, sir?
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead. And you have a copy of the...
Good evening, board members. President Salinas and members of the Board of Trustees, it is an honor and privilege to be here representing the McShane firm, which is one of the firms that submitted an application for your consideration to assist you in your search for the next superintendent of the Judson Independent School District. First of all, let me commend you for the responsibility that you have. I listened very clearly, Mr. Salinas, to the statement that precedes the meeting, and you covered some of the responsibilities that superintendents have in the management of the school district. But you have an awesome responsibility as policymakers and as the overseers of the total operations of school systems, and it goes beyond the personnel and the instruction, and there are so many complex functions that school districts have. You received a package from Mr. McShane, and in that package you had a letter that delineated the process by which the firm led by Mr. McShane usually follows in assisting school boards in their search for superintendents. I would like to, you have a PowerPoint and also a copy of that in your hands. I'm here representing Mr. McShane, as some of you may know, and those of you who know him personally. He is also a sitting board member with the Harlingen Consolidated Independent School District, and unfortunately, he had a meeting tonight with his board, and that prompted him to ask me to come and represent the team that is listed in the proposal, and that's the reason for my presence here tonight. I'd like to just follow the proposal, and I don't think it'll take more than 15 minutes. And I'm here at the pleasure of the board in terms of information requests or questions you might have, or elaborations on the process that I'm going to explain to you. The goal of the Judson School District is to select a superintendent who is learner-centered, to produce excellence so that students will receive a quality education, enabling them to become successful in the global society. I had an opportunity here before the meeting to just do a quick review of the overall performance condition of your school district. And I applaud you for the transparency. I think you know what your goals are, you know what your expectations are, and this is a great way, under the leadership of the superintendent, to keep track of the progress that's being made. I made some observations here that perhaps I might be able to share later if some of your questions pertain to a superintendent or instructional leader that's going to carry you to the next level of performance. The delineation of the process that you received in that letter or that package is in this PowerPoint broken up. It's an abbreviated version into it's a four-step process. First of all, the specification. We go in and we establish a relationship with the Board of Trustees. We explain the process further, should we be selected to assist you in this awesome task that you have before you. And then we conduct all kinds of information gathering strategies to help us build a profile of the superintendent that best fits the needs and the aspirations of the Board of Trustees, of the community, and all of the significant stakeholders inside the school district and outside the school district. And that means that we will participate in focus groups discussions to be able to secure all of that information. We have an established process that has been very successful. Later on, I will tell you about our experiences, especially our most recent experiences with working with school boards in the selection of superintendents. The profile development, after a very involved activity, and what we do with all of the stakeholders when we have these focus groups, is basically give them an understanding of the complex role of the superintendent. As we all know, sometimes we take a lot of things for granted in terms of what happens in the school district. Buses pick up kids when they're ready to go to school. They deliver them safely. They deliver them back where they picked them up. And that's a huge transportation system. It's an awesome responsibility, but we take that for granted. Students come to your cafeterias and they get served. You have, with a 23,000 student population in your school district, you probably have the largest food service business in the Judson, Converse area, or in the Metroplex here. Kids come in, they have to be served. The quality of the food has to be right where you want it, nutritious, and they have to meet all of the specifications of the state and national requirements that have to do with food services. Just that responsibility calls for a chief executive officer. If you were to compare that with all of the Luby cafeterias that are in the surrounding areas here, you far exceed that. And we take that for granted. The safety and security of your schools, of your staff, of your students, and all of those responsibilities that go with the day-to-day operations to ensure that everybody's safe. The police force, your regular police force, that's an awesome responsibility. The curriculum and instruction program, the instructional support services program, the accountability management information systems that provide you that kind of information that you have on the wall on a timely basis, the assessments, the interpretations of those, that's a very awesome experience. The curriculum and instruction program, what we teach, selecting the teachers, providing the support systems, the guidance, the directions that all of these people that make up the team of the superintendent. You have oversight of that. Superintendent, that's another major function of school district. The day-to-day operations, the supervision of principals, dealing with parents, dealing with children, so on and so forth. The finance and the business operations of the school district. Preparation of budgets. You already approved your expenditure plan. You're tracking a plan that's going to improve the school district next year, following year, and 5 years from now. Where do you want to be? That is a huge responsibility. The business operations, the purchasing departments, your payroll systems, human resources, selecting all of the personnel. I could go on to tell you the complex role of the superintendent. So when we go out with these focus groups, we try to break their mindset of just taking things for granted and not seeing the total picture of the responsibility of a superintendent. And above that, the policy and the oversight responsibility that you as school board members have, and the importance of having that good working relationship between a superintendent and a school board. So that helps break the ice. We ask the participants in the focus groups, what do you see as the major strengths of the school district? And we collect the information. We have a share and exchange. We have a survey that they write into, and then we write on or respond to, and then we discuss the information, we prioritize. What do you see as the areas of need in the school district? And we bring those to you. We do that with you as a board, and then we do that with all of the stakeholders in the school district, that you as a board would direct us to have these sessions, so that then we come back, and all of these are some of the stakeholder groups that are in the presentation here. This is an example of a matrix of when we collect the data, and we give you that information and we explain that information. That will tell you this is what this group said, this is what you said, this is what your central office people believe they need in terms of a leader, the priority descriptors of the leadership profile that you're looking for. The next thing that we do while we're doing that, it's not necessarily a sequential process, but we get out immediately the recruitment process, we roll it out. We follow your lead in that step as well. If you're interested in getting national participants or candidates to come to Judson, then we will have a national strategy to advertise nationally. If you'd like to stay within the state of Texas or in the southwest region of the country, we will do that. And that's a discussion that we will have with you in order to be able to determine the strategy and the scope of that strategy in reaching out for viable potential candidates for the superintendency of your school district. And we have all of the examples there of how we get the information out to all of the interested parties. The recruiting process, and there will be an applicant data bank that will be established. It's basically a profile of all your candidates that captures where they are now, the years in current position, that means their experience, the education, preparation, the professional preparation program that they would have gone through, the certifications that they have. Obviously, we have requirements in the state of Texas. And presently, whether they're under contract or they're not under contract, the legal information that's so important to look at in terms of their backgrounds, major accomplishments in leadership, references, rationale for seeking the position, expected salary, and when their availability to report to work should they be selected be. So that is part of the recruiting process as well. The third process is the assessment piece. This is when we meet with you as a team, and of course, Mr. McShann will be leading that process. We meet with you to present to you the candidates and to discuss the interviews and the formal reference checks that will be taking place. We conduct interviews with those candidates. We make sure that we screen them out, and that the consultant team would be doing that. I would anticipate that with a school district like Judson, the desirability of the location, close to proximity here in the San Antonio Metroplex, the history that school district has, which is a very good, solid history, that we would attract up to 30, 40, or 50 candidates. And we know what's out there because there are a lot of superintendent wannabes, so to speak, that are in school districts as sitting superintendents now. There are many at executive level positions as deputies or associates, some in small school districts, some in larger school districts. And we know what that crop is because we just finished doing Corpus, and we helped the school board with their selection of that superintendent. And prior to that, we did Isleta. And prior to that, we did other school districts here in the state. The selection. We present the board with the candidates separated in basically two tiers, but we bring you all of the applications when we meet. And if you can envision perhaps a meeting that take here half a day on a Saturday, or whenever the board decides you all want us to come down. We start off by explaining how we're going to conduct the review process. We will present to you, based on that leadership profile, the applicants and the interviews and the recruitment that we will do personally as well. We'll present to you a tier, what we call tier 1, of what we think are the highest or the 6th best candidates that match the profile that you as the school board have directed us to go search, the kind of superintendent you want for the school district. We will have a tier 2 list of candidates that we feel they're also highly qualified. They match the characteristics, but we have to make a decision for bringing you a tier 1 and tier 2. And then we bring you the entire bucket of applicants. We'll give you the list, where they're from, their positions, and so on and so forth. In collaboration with the entire board, we will decide, we'll get into a work session, we will leave you alone, you do your individual evaluations. There's no commitment to saying that you have to stay with tier 1, that you have to stay with tier 2, or that you can mix them all up. You can change the whole order of the tier 1 present candidates that we would bring to you. We would just be providing you our best recommendations given the evaluation that we do of all these candidates that would be coming to you. After you do that, we go through a process of prioritizing. We'll roll up our sleeves, we'll get up on boards or sheets of paper on the wall, and we identify what you think would be the top 3 candidates or the 4 candidates that you want to invite for an interview. And that's, we do not participate in that. We're observers. We're there to answer questions and to clarify any questions that you might have with respect to that process. When we decide that, then obviously we get into the bringing in, inviting the candidates you want to interview. We set up the schedule. We will do it with your guidance. If you want to be confidential of all the candidates that applied, many of the candidates would prefer that, especially those that are sitting candidates. Or if you want to expose all of the applicants or the top candidates to the media, that is a call that you will make. Of course, we have our recommendations, and I'll reserve any response to that until we have that opportunity if we are privileged to provide you the services. There are many other items that go with that. Board superintendent relationships and responsibilities, fiscal management, district operations management, curriculum and instructions. These are all of the functions that I mentioned earlier that collectively make up the total operations of the school district. If there's a need on the fiscal side of the house, the finances, you might be more inclined saying we need someone strong in finance. If there's a need after you do a complete analysis of where you are and where you've been and where you want to go and whether or not you're getting to where you want to go with the student performance of the school districts for all students and for the specific student populations, for your feeder systems, then you'll have to guide us in terms of that being one of the areas that you really want to concentrate on because it may be a priority, it may be something that you really want to shoot for. If you have issues with the board as a team, the relationship with superintendents, and I know that you've enjoyed a very good relationship here with Dr. Mackey, and you're looking for someone that has a political savvy, that knows how to manage, that can deal fairly and equitably and impartially with the board to be part of a very effective team, that you could very well say we're looking for a superintendent that is strong in governance and that is fair and that is going to lead us to where Judson ISD, as a board, will be nominated to be the exemplary board of trustees by the Texas Association of School Boards in 2 or 3 or 4 years. That could be one of your goals. So we mention all of these functions simply to underscore the complexity and the awesome responsibilities that superintendents have and that you have as the oversight body representing the community of those responsibilities in policy making and ensuring that you have an effective and efficient management system in the school district. The timeline is there. We will follow your lead on that. Obviously, you're going to be making an announcement. We don't have any dates specified. You know best when you would like to have a superintendent reporting to your school district. Maybe before the holidays and Christmas, maybe somewhere time in the spring. That would be your call, and we would be there to support and advise you in terms of the pros and cons about the availability of candidates during the entire cycle of the year while school districts are looking for superintendents. Our consultant fee is very, very affordable, we think. We all enjoy the business that we're in. Now, at this time, I'll just say a few things about Mr. McShann. He's, those of you who know him, he's a very distinguished public servant as a school board member, as an educator. He's known at the national level. He's been past president of the Texas Association of School Boards and past president of the National Association of School Boards across this country, nationally. That's quite an accomplishment. And if you will look at his resume, you will see all of the experience he has with not only recruiting, selecting, and placing superintendents in advising boards, but also in follow-up training in making sure that superintendent and school boards are off and running in getting their strategic plans. And then we will come back, and he does come back, should you encounter a problem, or if the superintendent selection process is for some reason aborted or is ended before 2 years. And he makes a commitment that we will come back to do it free of charge. Dr. Nolan Estes, a distinguished educational leader nationally. He was superintendent in Dallas Independent School District, was regional commissioner of education at the national level, and he also was professor of educational administration at the University of Texas, preparing superintendents. And it was through his legacy in that program that there are superintendents across the state at any given time leading over half of the student population in Texas as superintendent or executive leaders. You happen to have had experiences here with some of our graduates in the program. I followed Dr. Estes when I left the superintendency in the San Antonio Independent School District. I was there for 7 years. And I'm into my 9th year as the director of the superintendent doctoral program at the University of Texas. And you have our resumes there. I can talk a lot about the collective experience and what we bring to the table. What we do know, and that besides having a lot of experiences in common, is that we represent high ethical standards, and we want nothing but the best for leadership in all of our public schools, not only in Texas, but across the country. So with that, Mr. President and board members, I conclude my kind of formal spill here, and I'll open it up for some questions. I hope that I haven't exceeded the time.
Mr. Sally.
I do, because I supervise doctoral thesis, and I know Dr. Estes does too, and when we interview the candidates, they have a doctorate. Not all the applicants will have a doctorate. Then we ask questions about their focus of study, and what is its relationship in preparing you to become a superintendent and understanding the awesome responsibility of the school district. All those functions that we mentioned. So yes, sir.
Mr. Lafont? Okay. Mr. Flores?
I'm good right now.
Ms. Ader?
I get chastised about my mic. On the page of the PowerPoint where you reference the superintendent profile development, the top 5 characteristics, and
Yes,
where
ma'am.
you have central office administrators, where you list those, is that where is your, is your support staff, do you include our, say, maintenance, transportation, food service? Are those employees also included in the development of the profile?
The stakeholders that will be participating in that input, information, we go out and gather information, are going to be the stakeholders that you want us to meet with. I know that we have teacher organizations out there that have a lot of interest, and employee organization groups. There are sectors in the community, your religious, faith-based organizations, you might want to include those. Obviously, your business community as well, all of the organized groups that we have, the Chamber of Commerce, the African American Chamber of Commerce, the larger Chamber of Commerce, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, whatever group and then internally in the school district, in response to your question, we will meet with central office administrators, we'll meet with the superintendent to give us his perspective on where we've been, where we are, where the district is going, and what the plan is to get there currently, and what he sees are the strengths of the school district and the contributions that he would make with the profiling. And then, of course, you as a board. We will have individual one-on-ones with board members to have a real candid, open discussion. And then we'll meet with you as a board, and then we'll give you a report. This is what came out of your input. We're not going to say, this is what Mr. Salinas said, or this is what Mr. Flores said, or this is what Mr. Salyer said. We're going to say, this is what you all told us, as a group. And then we begin to talk then about some of the characteristics of superintendents, and you help prioritize them. You want a superintendent that's student-centered. You want a superintendent that's open, transparent, that has good relationships, that has an understanding of the Texas finance system, all of the resources that come in and can set up and work with you in developing a budget that tracks and supports your long-range plan.
Ms. Macias?
Thank you for your presentation today. I recall not too long ago, SAISD conducted a very extensive superintendent search. And during that, there was some backlash, if you will, for one of the candidates that had a history or a past. Do you do your background on candidates that go through your process, or is there some, what does that look like? Could we potentially come across the same sort of scenario?
There are two, what I would call safeguards in that process. One is the work that we will do in doing that background search. And then one is the period that you will have when you select the lone finalist to let's find out some more about this candidate. That's why the law was set up, to ensure that before you issue and sign a contract, that we know everything about that particular candidate. It's interesting that you mentioned the San Antonio Independent School District, because that school system is very dear to my heart. I had a very great experience there. I did not participate in our firm or George's firm submit the bid, because I did not want to be part of that. I'd always told the board, if I can help you, I don't want to help you in a business arrangement. But the McShann firm did not get the contract. It was given to ProAct. It's a national firm. But when all those questions started coming up, and before those, we already knew. So I called board members. I called Mayor Garza. I said, what are you doing? You know, don't get into that. You better check him out really quickly and very closely. It doesn't smell good. And obviously, should there have been good advice from the firm, there should have never been any media spectacles out of that. That should have been cut right at the very front, and that should not be drug out. It just called to question the confidence and the ability of the board, along with that search firm, in having gone that far into it and then having to go back and retract, because it appeared like the public and the media made it do that. And we will not want to be in that situation. We have not had that experience, sir.
Dr. Olivares, once the team is formed, superintendent is selected, your firm, do they come in and do, I believe I've read some of them, that they come and do a team building with the board members and the new superintendent?
That is an option that you have. There are services out there. TASB provides those services at cost. I know that Mr. McShann does a lot of that himself. It is not part of the contract. The contract is basically to select the superintendent.
Right.
And then, should you want to continue to provide the support, to work out the work structure that superintendent and the board is going to establish, to move on, to revisit the information that was gleaned from all of those focus sessions, the priorities of the school districts, the perceptions, your priorities, and then move on to the plan development and that support, the relationships that are needed in order for you to become an outstanding board and recognized by the state of Texas at TASB.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Thank you for your presentation. When you talk about the level of recruitment, you know, national, regional, and state, do you find it better to get a candidate that's within the state because they know what's going on, or what has been your experience on that?
I want you to, first of all, understand, Mr. Flores, singularly and as a board, that we have our opinions, and we will give you our opinions just like you're asking right now, but that decision has got to come from you. We feel that Texas is extremely unique in many of the laws and the strictures that govern public education. I think every one that follows the news and knows where our state is, we don't necessarily, as a state, subscribe to the national agenda of what's happening across the country. Texas has its own accountability system. We have our curriculum. The state, through the State Board of Education and whoever happens to be in charge politically, the governor of the state, we don't believe on a core curriculum across the country. We believe in a curriculum that's developed at the state level and that all of the citizens of Texas endorse and embrace. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean that there are not candidates out there that could come in and do a great job here in the school system. The school finance system in Texas is very complicated. The formulas that guide the allocations and how you distribute the monies and how you target them, you know, in accordance with the laws and all of the rules and regulations, are very state-specific, and they can be very cumbersome. Found many superintendents that, well, I wouldn't say many because I don't want to exaggerate, but who, even they don't have that understanding, find themselves in major problems later, short-lived. But it, again, it's a board decision.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more? Okay. Mr. Olivares, Dr. Olivares, thank you very much for your presentation, sir, and we appreciate you taking time to come with us over here.
Thank you, sir, and I'd like to, again, thank Jacqueline Pettis, your very efficient secretary.
Thank you, sir. I want to go over there and bring the other part. Thank you very much, sir.
Dr. Olivares, did you get your PowerPoint? Did you have your PowerPoint, was it in the?
Well,
Or she loaded it up, okay.
she loaded it up for me, and it's yours.
Okay, thank you.
How's it going? Good. Good seeing you, man.
Well, he said technology was here working on everything. He said technology was here working on everything.
Yeah, but we want to take it off of here before.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know how.
Regular Friday packet. I'm not gonna open that.
Is there someone in there? Hold up. Oh, Jackie. Okay. You can take it off.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Yes, sir. Dr. Duran. Okay. Normally, well, I'll explain. Okay, we have our second group presenting, which is the TASB, the Executive Search Services from TASB. What we're doing, we're giving you 15 minutes for presentation. If you need more time, just let us know. After that, we'll open it for the board to have any questions, okay? So if you are ready, Dr. Duran, I believe we are ready to go.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board members, my name is Robert Duran. I'm superintendent. Whoops, no, I'm not. I used to be. We were just having a conversation about that. I am the Associate Executive Director for Governance Services with TASB, and really on behalf of our CEO, Jim Crow, we certainly want to, first of all, we'd be remiss if we didn't say we appreciate your membership to the association and the services that you take advantage of. The Executive Search Services are very important to Mr. Crow. And I'm extremely excited. I've been on board since January, and he had a long talk with me about getting very involved in these searches. So that's something that I'm excited about. getting the opportunity to work with school boards as I have over the last 4 or 5 months in finding superintendents, and then knowing my colleagues out in the field that are ready to move to a district like Judson and move up in opportunity, or some that just want to just a shift and move over that may be from bigger districts. I've talked to superintendents, believe it or not, even before Dr. Mackey announced his retirement, about the opportunity that Judson offers, because as you know, I was a neighbor of yours and know what possibilities are here. I would like to introduce the team that we have here. First of all, our Director of Executive Search Services, Butch Feltner. He's going to come up and give you details about our process, or at least a guideline for you. Dr. Marion Strauss, she's our lead consultant. She'll be very involved in this search should we have the opportunity to conduct it. And then Craig Stockstill, he is our sort of utility field service rep, because he does represent this area, but he helps us a lot on searches and does a great job also. So that's our team. I do want to just communicate 3 things that I want you to think about that's probably not unique to our service, the search service, and that's 3 areas that I would hope that we could push you a little bit to be very, very clear on and reach a consensus on. Number 1 is that you all give us very clear direction on how you want the search to be conducted. I mean, there are a lot of details to work out, for example, public versus behind closed doors with the candidates and things like that. Even to my involvement, if you'd like for me to visit with each one of you, my commitment is to be very involved in this with the team. And we're very excited about the possibilities of doing this search. We know that it's a really strong district, but at the same time, we would ask you to please, beginning with the first planning meeting, let's get a real clear plan of what you want in your search. You do the direction and we do the work, as we like to say. Number 2 really is that you are very clear about the profile you're looking for in a new superintendent. The more clear you all are as a board and the consensus you reach about that profile, we know you're going to get community input and input from important folks around the community. But when we narrow it down, the clearer we are about that profile and how he or she will look coming into the district, the skills, the knowledge and experience, the more we can match those candidates to Judson ISD. And I'll say at this point, we're not just going to, I personally wouldn't address people who are looking for a job. We would actually go out and recruit superintendents that I know, that we know all across the state, even some that are going to respond nationally, that would be a really good fit for you. So that clarity is important. And then the third thing is just a given, and that is that you make the final decision. Believe it or not, some boards, when they get to the finals, and we hope that this is your situation, that it's a very tough decision, because the 3 finalists or 4, whatever you want, they're all top-notch and qualified to do the job, and you make the decision. And some boards like to say, well, you tell us who the finalists should be, but we just ask that you do that. So again, clarity on the process, that you are clear on the profile of who you want, characteristics, experience, et cetera. And then again, you make that final decision, and we'll support you in that. But again, we're excited about it. We have a wonderful team, and I'll let Mr. Feltner come up and break down again what our search process is, just as a guide. Thank you.
It's good to be here with you, and my best friend is a former Rocket. He always comes back and tells me about, being in the Rocket and the band and everything like that, so I always call him the Rocket Man anytime that I see him. So anyway, he wanted me to say, be sure to tell those folks down there hi, because they're all good people. So I satisfied his wishes. As you know, this will be the most important decision that you're going to make, as being getting the new superintendent. A little bit about us: we have 600 and plus searches in our history. 96% of the superintendents we place are still on the job after 3 years. We have a field service network, as Dr. Duran alluded to, with Mr. Stockstill here. He is one of our field service reps. We have a total of 9 that are throughout the state. We have an updated electronic application system. Everybody that applies will apply online through us. We do not have a paper trail per se. We do not have a stable of superintendents. If you're looking for an organization that has the good old boy out there that can just pick up a phone and say, hey, I got a job for you, that's not us. So just want you to know that up front. And as a result of that, we have excellent candidates that wish to apply with our searches because they trust our process and our search. We do the work, as Dr. Ron alluded to. We receive applications, but we also recruit qualified candidates that will match up to your profile. And we also check the references not listed. We check references, but we're also going back behind the references, because we all know that You're not going to put anybody on your reference list that's going to talk bad about you. So we're going to go back and do a little research behind what these folks have done when they get down to the folks you want to choose. We advertise both the position and the district. Not everybody, surprisingly, throughout the state of Texas or beyond knows where Judson ISD is located. So we do a little profile of the district as well on our website, so folks can look at that. We have profile sessions, we set up interviews, and we assist you if you need any contract help. We can assist in that as well. That's the team that will be working on this search. You're not going to see all those folks, but they're going to have input on this search if we were fortunate to get it. Our profile sessions, we meet with various groups. What we'll do is come and stay a day or two in your district, and we will meet with different stakeholders, district employees, students, different folks like that. Any group that you would like for us to meet with, we will meet with to discuss what are you looking for in your next superintendent. We like to give people a voice and let them come and share and sometimes vent, if you will, on what they're looking for. And plus, we also say, the board is allowing you to do this. They didn't have to, so we're giving you kudos back to you. And the public likes that many times, that you're giving them an opportunity to have something to say about the search process. We also meet with you. Now, we can meet with you individually as each board member, or we can meet with you as collectively as a group. It doesn't matter to us. You just tell us what you'd prefer, and we can do that. And we can do it either way. We also provide a web survey that we link onto your district's website. For example, the days we're here, if someone cannot be here or doesn't want to be here, they can stay in their home or their business or wherever, and they can just click on your district's website, hit that link, fill out the survey as if they were sitting in the room with us. And so it goes into our system there, and it's for our eyes only. No one in this district can see that. So we put all that together from the live sessions as well as the website survey, and we bring back a report to you. Here's what we heard, here's what we understand, and in our opinion, this is what we think you're looking for in your next superintendent. And we're going to put together some qualifications and characteristics. Now, going through TASB is just a little bit different than any other organization, because even though some write a letter of interest of what they're wanting to do if they were going to be superintendent here, we have each applicant write a response or a narrative based on your qualifications, how their career matches up with your qualifications, so that way it gives you a little bit better idea of what this person is. More so than just a resume, it gives you a little bit more about their writing ability as well as how their career is applicable to your district. So that's what we do, and that's how we develop the characteristics based on the profile sessions. In the interviewing, we provide a CD or box.com of all the applicants' application documents, which is our application document, which will contain the Q&Cs and all the information based in there. You'll see what they're currently making, you'll see their benefits, you'll see their philosophy of education is all built inside of that application. You'll also see their resume, you'll also see their transcripts, and you'll also see their certification. So those are 4 documents that are required for each applicant when they apply with us. We ask that you sign a confidentiality oath, which means that once you receive the information on the candidates, you'll not divulge that information to anyone. And the reason we do that is because some of these folks are coming from good districts, and they don't want something to get back to their home district to stir up the apple cart, because it can create a little hostility back with their home district board. And that's why candidates trust our process so much. We help you develop a set of interview questions. We have 70-something interview questions that cover the whole gamut of what a superintendent should be doing or should have knowledge of, and we have all those for you. You can ask your own during the interview, or you can select some of those, whatever you choose to do. We assist the candidate in making travel arrangements. We recommend the second interview when you bring back the second round candidates with the spouse. We want to make sure that the spouse is happy about moving. We found that that's an important factor, that we want to make sure everybody's happy on this. We assist with contract and benefit packages should you need this. You receive 3 hours of board training credit if you hire TASB. So that means you get to skip out of a session or so if you need to. But if you go through the interview workshop, which we do before the initial interviews, you will get 3 hours of board training credit. You can also get up to an additional 4 hours of credit if you hire our leadership team services to come in and do a transition or whatever there is when the new superintendent comes in. That's an option to you. It's not a part of our service, but it's certainly available, and I can tell you they do an excellent job in that area. We are available. Our consultants are available for 1 year at the conclusion of the search. Should you need us for any reason, we're there for you. In fact, I just got a phone call from a search that I did actually in San Antonio, Edgewood. I had a board member call me and say, hey, what about this? And that's been about 4 or 5 years ago, so it's been a while. If the superintendent leaves within 2 years of his or her hire date, we'll reopen the search. If it's a family-related situation, ESS will reopen the search for travel and expenses only and no additional consulting fees. So you have a 2-year guarantee with that. So that's always a nice thing to have. The cost of the search, we base our fee on the school district's ADA, and our experienced staff and network of field service representatives allow us to provide exceptional service. And the cost of our search is all inclusive. There's no fee and then additional expenses tied on, because sometimes you don't know where those additional expenses are coming from and what they all entail. The only thing that our fee does not include is the second round interview. 100% of our boards pay for the applicants to come back a second time. The first time they're coming because they want to be here. The second time they're coming is because you're inviting them to come back. And so we look at that as like you're inviting somebody out to dinner and then they say, oh, by the way, you've got to pay for this. Sometimes that doesn't go over well. And our districts choose to say, yeah, we'll pay for the second round at least, for them to come back. And we monitor those expenses pretty closely. Also, it does not cover the site visit. Should you choose to take a site visit, which we encourage boards to do, it doesn't cover that. But everything else, all the advertising, all the expenses that go with the search are all inside the fee. Our process levels the playing field for all internal and external candidates. So if you have somebody that might be inside that wants to apply, they certainly can go through the same process, and it levels the playing field for everybody. That's a sample timeline of what you would see, how this thing would work. We'd have a planning session. You see the community involvement sessions and things like that. And that's just a sample of how one district conducted their search. So that would be something that we'd be working through with you. Those are some of the searches that we have done recently and some not so recently. I think you probably will recognize a few of those school districts up there. In summary, we have over 600 searches. 96% of our placements are still on the job after 3 years. 82% are on the job after 5 years. We're very proud of that percentage right there. We work as a team. You have the entire staff working for your search, not just 1 or 2 consultants, but you have the entire team working for you. And the other thing is we are the only firm with personal knowledge of every superintendent in the state of Texas. There's not a firm that can say that. Now, there might be some firms out there that can pick up a phone and call somebody. There's no firm out there that can say we have personal knowledge. And how do we do that? Because as Mr. Stock's still here, he physically walks in the doors of the schools in his area. He gets to meet not only the superintendent, but the staff. And we can find out a lot of things about superintendents just talking to staff members sometimes. It's kind of like if you can walk in the house and you can find a whole lot about the husband, but just by talking to the wife. And so there's a lot of those type of things. The other value added difference with TASB is that the money that you give to us does not go into our pockets. It goes back into Texas public schools. And we feel like that's important, that we can support in board member trainings and different things like that. And that's what the fee goes back to. It doesn't go to us, it goes back to TASB. And so we can do what we do to help to support you folks. So we are ready whenever you are. And we're your service organization, and we're always looking out for your best interest. And that's the presentation that we have, so.
Okay. We'll open it up for the board members. Mr. Flores?
I don't have anything right now.
Okay. Mr. Salyer? Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. LaFoy? Okay, Ms. Adair? Come back. Okay. Mr. Macias?
Thank you. Thank you. Really good presentation. And just for consistency, I'm going to actually ask you the same thing I asked the previous group. Referring back to the issue with San Antonio ISD here in this community, actually when they were looking to replace their superintendent, and they did their search, and the search came back that the candidate that they had chosen as a potential number one had some history. Of course, the media grabbed hold of it, and it became sort of an embarrassing issue for the district. How thorough are these background checks prior to us having finalists that we're looking through, and how would you handle that?
We will do an intense background check. We call people that are, again, as Mr. Feltner referred to, we call references, but we dig a whole lot deeper than just the references that are listed. And we go back to the people that are connected to them every day, the field service people that are out in the field, and then also our sister organizations throughout the United States are the ones that we go to if they're candidates from out of state. So we have contacts in every state that we can call and talk to about the superintendents that are in their particular states. So we have a network of people that we rely on when we have candidates. Also, we're very forthright about asking the candidates, is there anything in your past that will embarrass the Judson ISD Board or TASB if you were selected for this position? And that's one of the most important questions that we ask as a finalist. And we expect an honest answer, and I think we can, it's not 100%, but probably 99.9% of the time, we find if there is something, we're going to know it. Is there any?
Can I add one? Oh, I'm sorry, Craig.
Sure.
Just to give you an example, I was doing a search in the Panhandle, and one of our, the outgoing superintendent was a member of the panel of the board, and as we began to interview candidates, and as we got down to one particular candidate, the superintendent, the outgoing superintendent, told the board, this is the man that's the best on the list right there. The only problem was I had different information because my source that I went to had some pretty bad stuff. As the board came around, they said, Butch, what do you have? I told them. The superintendent was not happy about hearing that. He left the meeting, went out and called his friend, who was his former superintendent. And he came back in and said, I've got egg on my face. He said, my superintendent buddy said, don't hire him. Problem was, none of this was out. It hadn't hit the papers. It hadn't hit anything. It was swept under the rug. But we found out that information. Now, as Dr. Strauss alluded to, we're not going to guarantee 100%, but we do our darndest to find out everything that's out there. So, Craig?
To answer part of my job is also to be in meetings and around with those folks, those superintendents. I attend the service center meetings with them. We go to the symposiums when they're there, and we spend, and there are 9 of us, and plus 10, my boss, Mike Raines, are out there, the pulse of what's going on. I'll give you an example of one that turned out positive. We did a search where a young man had, early in his life, had made some misjudgment about the use of alcohol and driving a vehicle. It took 2 DWIs to awaken him to the point that maybe he shouldn't drink at all. It changed his whole life. The DWIs changed his life. And what happened was, because he quit frequenting bars and running around, he had time on his hand. He went to junior college, found out that he had a passion for learning and education, went back and got his associate arts degree, entered the university, got a degree. All the time he went and got a job working in the district in a maintenance position. Ended up coming back and getting an interview. But I was able to share that information with the board ahead of time and made me feel like part of our job is to give you the information so that you can make the decision. We don't make the decision, oh, that won't matter. We're gonna tell you everything we know. We're not gonna keep something back from you.
You said your fee is based on our ADA.
Yes,
And I think you had sent a proposal of 11.8.
Yes.
Are we still there, or has that changed?
That's it.
That's it.
Oh,
That
that's
is-
it.
that
So
is
you already
it.
took into the ADA and
Yes, we
everything?
did.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I heard your presentation at SOI, so that's why I was in that, and it's pretty much the same.
Well, then you could have done this.
The question I had for the previous firm was, on your level of recruitment, national, regional, and state, do you tend to, Texas is unique, as we know, from different parts of the country. So do you tend to stay within the state as far as research, or?
We open it to everyone. It is every search begins at ground zero, and it is open to anyone. We have some excellent out-of-state candidates right now, but we're going to, as we profile and are in the district, the culture of this district is different from every other district in the state of Texas, and we're going to work really hard to make sure that all of the candidates that we recruit understand that culture and also will fit within the culture and be the right fit for for the district and for, of course, for you as a board. And so the question being, are there more in-state candidates? Definitely, yes. But we do have some excellent out-of-state candidates now as well that are beginning to apply. I think everybody wants to come to Texas, and especially the I-35 corridor. I think you're going to attract some really strong out-of-state candidates.
Anybody else? No? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your presentation, and we appreciate you coming over here for this
Thank
evening.
you.
And there will be no action. We'll be doing an action item on the 21st of August.
August 25th? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lee. I also want to say thank you to Miss Jacqueline for helping me. She did, she did a good job.
Dr. Duron, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, okay? Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, thank you very much. Appreciate it, you making it. Thank you. Jackie, do we have the other group? Okay. Oh, you better, do I have to sign that?
I'm gonna give it to Jackie, actually.
Huh? I don't know. He wanted to leave, I said no. So he stayed, I don't know. I guess he wanted to listen to Ruben. Anyway, he said he was leaving. I said, no, stay. He stayed for the first presentation. See, everybody thinking that I told him he was leaving. Yes. Yeah, they're coming. They're taking a 5-minute recess. I know. Okay, we're in a 5-minute recess. Okay. Recess at 7:42. Okay, our next presenter will be the Thompson David Thompson, Dr. Mike Moses, and Dr. Julian Trevino. Dr. Julian Trevino will be making the presentation. And normally, Dr. Trevino, we're allowing 15 minutes for presentation. If you need more time, just let us know. And after that, to be followed by questions by the board, okay?
Yes, sir. I'll
So
probably take,
if you are ready, sir, we are ready.
yes, sir. I'll probably take less than 15 minutes to allow you
No problem,
to
whatever
allow
you
you
need, sir.
more time for
Thank
for
you.
questions. First of all, my name is Julian Trevino, and so, Mr. President, members of the board, superintendent, and other guests, thank you for allowing us, or allowing me to make this proposal and conducting this search for your next leader to lead this outstanding school system. As you said, it's David Thompson, and David is in private practice with Thompson and Horton. He's a past associate director for TASB. He's been the general counsel for TEA, and he represents many school systems across Texas, small, medium, and large. Mike Moses has been a superintendent in small, medium, and large school systems, who was also deputy chancellor and professor at Texas Tech, also the Texas Commissioner of Education. I've been a teacher at all levels, been a principal. Back in the day, it was junior high principal, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. I'm dating myself. Also a high school principal. I worked at the central office up to the level of associate superintendent. I've been at the professor level at Trinity, Texas A&M College Station, and most recently here at UTSA on a part-time basis, and working with CRSS, Center for the Reform of School Systems, working with school boards, as some of you know. So with that, our professional experience combined has given us the opportunity to create a network, not only in Texas, but across the nation. And what does that mean to you? Well, it means that we're able to attract and know of leaders to bring to you for your consideration. And having said that, this search, we work at the pleasure of the board, but this is your search. And so we will abide by that. And so, as I said, as experienced professionals, we feel that we are very highly qualified to assist you in this very, very important search. It is my personal opinion that after serving 12 years on a board of trustees in the San Antonio Independent School District, that, to me, my personal opinion is the most important job that a board does is to select a superintendent. And so those 12 years prove that to be true. We do not have a stable of candidates. We take the information that we garner from your system and try to get a matching overlay that fits. You are the ones that are going to select this superintendent. So we don't have a stable out there. We know of people that once we come up with a profile that you and us will help create along with some focus groups, which I will address momentarily. But it is your selection. It is your responsibility. You're the ones that evaluate and provide the oversight to the superintendent. But we don't have a stable of candidates that we bring to every place that we go to. So it would be our honor to do this search with you. Now, in your booklet, you have our previous searches. And we're not going to go through those. We tried to limit to 3 or 4 per year. There's 3 of us, and sometimes we bring in one more, and that's, he was a former superintendent in Houston, also the former board president in Houston, and also United States Secretary of Education, Rod Page. It depends. So there's basically 4 of us. Now, we don't overdo it, so we can focus and dedicate our time to this. So there was one year when we had quite a few, but it's usually 3 or 4 searches that we work with. And why do we do that? Because our record will show that all of the superintendents, all of the districts that we work with, every superintendent has been a successful hire. We have had no issues. We do the due diligence in the vetting process, but we also encourage the board to do the same. We don't just look at the references. As I said, we have a network. So when they submit those references, yes, we check those. But we know other people that we dig deeper than that. So please, you can check on those and all of the ones that we've done in San Antonio also. We will develop a timeline with you. A good search will take anywhere from 4 to 6 months to do a credible, deep, down, viable search, anywhere from 4 to 6 months. This is something we don't want to rush, and obviously you don't either. Personally, I've been to 3 searches as a board member, 3 superintendent searches. As an associate superintendent, I was part of a search. I didn't apply for it, but I was part of a search when we brought in the superintendent. We will receive the applicants. The people will apply, and we'll receive those gladly. We're not content to sit back and be reactive to that. We will pursue, and I repeat myself, we will pursue assertively and actively your 5 stars. We will go after those people that are performing exceptionally well. After we've developed a profile, we will go after those people. So we do recruit. We don't just wait for the people to apply. We do go actively and recruit. We're not going to go find the person for you. We'll go find people for you to be able to select those people. So as far as the advertising is concerned, you will make the decision. You want to stay local, i.e. in Texas, or do you want us to go national? We've gotten away from printing brochures. It's expensive, and very few people now will use that. It's all about technology. It's faster, it's more effective. I can guarantee you people are already looking at your website, and it's much faster. And I'll talk a little bit about the numbers, the finances on that. But it's your call. You want to stay local in Texas, or do you want to expand nationally? We have the wherewithal to go national. We advertise on the websites for TASA, AASA, your universities, your education service centers. We have contacts in every state, and there will be people. Texas is the place, and we have a lot of people. I get people that will send me notes, emails that say, if something opens up, as a consultant, I travel the country, and they'll tell me, if something opens up, keep my name, here's my resume, and we file those. But if they're not a match for a certain school district, we don't even bring them to the board. So if you do decide to go national, we would discuss that at the appropriate time. As I said, and this is very, very important, we do vet these people. We are very diligent about checking references and beyond. We don't want to be embarrassed. You don't want to be embarrassed. As a board member, I used to tell the colleagues on the board when we're going through the search, if we don't do a good job on vetting them, I can guarantee you the media will. And you have seen evidence here not too long ago. The media will do it for you, but it's not going to be very pleasant. And all of the ones that we've done, we do it well. And we advise you to get involved because it will show your constituents that you're actively involved with that. We believe in these focus groups. We ask each of you to nominate 8 people. That's 56. And they come from parent, non-parent, business, faith-based, teacher, administrator, student, and community at large. That's 8 people per board member. That's 56. Right? Yes. So 56 people. We work with staff. We break them up into 3 or 4. We meet with them for 2 hours. And we ask them, what kind of personal qualities do you want to see in your next superintendent? What kind of skills professionally do you want to see in your next superintendent? What else do you want to see in your superintendent? What can we tell these applicants that will bring them here? What can we tell a 5-star that's happy where they're at, that their spouse is happy with everything, with the church, with everything, would you name it, they're happy where they're at, the board loves them. So what can we tell them about Judson that's going to bring them here? Conversely, what do we need to tell them to be upfront where Judson needs to improve? So we get all of that information. And we also tell the members of these focus groups, we don't use names. There's no attribution and say, so-and-so said this, so-and-so said that. We take notes, but we don't take down names. And then we report to you a late afternoon or an early board meeting. And we say, board members, these are the thoughts from these focus groups. We met with 2 today, and these are their thoughts. And give you an opportunity to provide feedback. And we meet with you, like I say, after that. We encourage you not to show up at these focus groups. Some people sometimes get a little bit shy and quiet and maybe don't want to talk. So we find it when you don't show up. I mean, we're going to tell you what they said. We don't tell you who said it, but we tell you what they said. So then, we meet with them for about 2 hours per group, and then we meet with you. Where we do this, we do it all the time. The community likes this because they feel they are part of the process. People tend to support what they help create. And it's just not lip service, because we tell them what we're doing with this information. After that's done, we give you that information, we ask you the same thing. And then we develop this profile. Now, it's not as simple. I mean, I've oversimplified, but we talk about that quite a bit. And there's some discussions that go along with it, and we facilitate that. Identification of all of the applicants. Everyone that applies, you're going to see. We'll also tell you, Forrest Gump applied. We're not going to consider him or her. They just don't have the qualifications. So there's no sense. But here's the application, just a minute. So everyone that applies, you get to see. And if they didn't make the cut, we tell you why they didn't make the cut. We don't want anybody calling in and saying, they didn't consider me. And some do. They didn't make the cut because they don't have these qualifications that are required. After that, we help you bring the list to a workable number for the first round of interviews. We recommend, at your call, around 8 people. Maybe less, maybe a little bit more, but not by much. We also help you with questions. You don't have to abide by those questions. But with our experience, we've been there, done that, so have you, and we help you with that. We contact the applicants and say, you need to be here at a certain time, at a certain date, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. After that, we meet with you again to identify the second round, your short list. Usually the second round, as you all know, it's a social affair too. Some boards, many boards invite spouses. You have dinner. After dinner, the spouse is taken away if it's near the afternoon. If it's the spouse is the man, somebody takes them to play golf or whatever. If it's a woman, they do whatever they do, go to Nordstrom's or whatever. So that's what you do. And you may come up with a finalist, maybe 2 finalists. We talk about that. And those are the second rounds. There's the question of the site visit. Some boards want to make a site visit, others don't. So it's something that we will discuss. If we're selected, that's up to you. If you travel in 4s, that's a quorum. That's posted. And if there's media interest, once that's posted, they'll find out who your finalists are. And a word about that. When you recruit a 5-star and they're happy where they're at, they're not necessarily really comfortable about being exposed because they've got to explain to the board. So that's another point that we can discuss about that. As we're going along we select 8 people for you to interview. We go deeper on these reference checks. And the vetting process gets a little tougher. You get into the finalist, it gets tougher on that. The web goes out. You talk to more people about that. Finally, if you get to a finalist, there's some decisions to be made about, are you going to have 2? Are you going to bring them before the public? Or you just have 1 finalist and follow the law of the 21-day waiting period? And we've got David Thompson, obviously, that knows that backward and forward. So now, as far as the money is concerned, our fee is competitive, is $22,000 plus the expenses, and the expenses, I think they're broken down there. $2,300 for consultant expenses. These are approximate. $2,300 for consultant expenses. If we're doing only Texas, approximately, you're looking at about $200 for expenses for advertising. And if we're going to go national and Texas, is about $980 approximately. Candidate travel, you start getting into the finalists, the travel comes out to about $2,300. And then they're not put up at the presidential suites or anything, but you'd rather be a little bit over than under on that. And the office supplies are very minimal for us. So having been there and done that on both sides of the table, and Mike Moses and David, we're very conscious of expenditures, and we have been doing this enough time now that we are very effective regarding on these searches. Now, as far as billing, there's no down payment, there's no money up front. We don't ask for a payment halfway through. In fact, we don't ask for a payment at the end. We ask for a payment when you're fully satisfied. When he or she is in the chair and you say, we're done. And that's when we bill. If that superintendent leaves within the first year, we'll do it again at no charge. We've never had that happen. We sincerely appreciate the opportunity to present this proposal to you. We feel we're the best qualified, given our experience, to assist you and work for you to help you find your next great leader. Mr. President.
Thank you, sir, for this wonderful presentation. Board members, open up to questions. Mr. Flores.
I'll ask you the same thing I've asked the other ones,
Yes,
Dr. Trevino, is on your search, your national, regional, or state, do you find that it's the uniqueness of the Texas education, accountability and everything, do you find that it's more likely to keep them from within the state?
You're right on target. You're right on target, Mr. Flores. Texas is unique in the accountability and the finance. If you're not, so to speak, homegrown, you need to have a very high learning curve. And yes, people that have worked in Texas are familiar with that. That doesn't mean that you don't have people that pick up on that pretty quick. Having said that, there are people that have worked in Texas that go out and find out that the grass is greener here in Texas and want to come back. So yes, you're absolutely right. Yes, the accountability system and our finance system here in Texas is unique, and you need to be up to speed on that. This is not OJT. This is not a time to be OJT. Kids don't have time for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You stay there.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Trevino. We appreciate you coming over here to make this presentation, sir.
Again, thank you very much. And just a final parting word that David and Mike did say it would be our honor to be able to serve you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, we can, if you have any discussion on this, because it's in the agenda, if you want to say something or about the proposals. I'm sorry.
You can only go into closed session if you have any legal questions about it, otherwise the debate about which firm, search firm that would have to be on.
So we could discuss it tonight?
So we can talk about it tonight, that's good. So you can't take action, I think tonight.
No, we're not talking about, we're just talking about what they felt about the proposal. Any comment? Yeah, on the 21st, right? Okay. You want to digest it? And we had set aside on the budget, I believe, 25, right? 25,000? Okay.
I thought that they all gave good presentations.
Yes, yes.
They're all qualified.
They do.
For what they're looking for, and they all have educational background. George McShann has brought us some good candidates. They've brought us Dr. Trevino's group. They brought us Dr. Bukowski, before. They brought Brian Woods to Northside. And PASB, they do a great job. They know all the superintendents. They know what's going on. What I kind of like about PASB is that the money goes back into PASB.
That was going to be my,
That's just one of the
that it
things.
goes back, it's not for the firm or whatever.
But you can't always go with the cheapest one. The cheapest
Well,
one is not always the best.
Right,
We've got to, I think we've got to digest it a little more after hearing them.
Sure.
But I think they all did a great job. It's going to be a tough pick.
Yeah.
Personally.
I thought PASB did great. And of course, McShane, Dr. Olivares, and of course, these people, because they're very experienced. And that's why we have until the 21st, if you happen to call, let one of us know. Well, that's pretty
But that's about right, though, you know, if you pick them in
But
August.
look, it's, what is it,
December, December, January, February.
Yeah,
So that's, I think, what we were looking for, really.
and it doesn't mean that
Yeah.
we're gonna meet week to week to week, no.
No.
It's gonna take time.
Yeah.
I like the first two that they will do the surveys with the community, the
Yeah.
students, and not only that, but whoever you want to be involved, to be questioned or be in the survey,
Yeah.
be in the survey, so. I like it.
Well, I also like the fact that, over the first two, the superintendent has been and a rep from the mayor with the area where, more,
Oh, good on, and, Dr. Olivares.
I did need to notice, so when I look back at the package, I'm really surprised that they don't get a lot of small schools.
Who?
Well, the majority are small school districts.
McShane is normally all the better. He controls all the better. Yeah, I know, I saw that, they do have some big ones too, at the very end.
Who was that? I
Uh,
think Waco was the one, the bigger one.
no, they had, they got Irving ISD 33,000, that's the biggest one.
Oh, Irving is right outside of Dallas.
Yes. Alvin 14.9. Mission is 14 something? I didn't realize Mission was that big. Waco, Church Cibolo. So they got quite a few there. And like I like Mr. LaFoyle said, hey, if we call some of these, they say, hey, how did this company work for you when they did this service?
That's what we need to know.
Yes, sir. We got time. Now, do we have to come with a name, Gilbert, by the 21st? Would that be better?
Well-
So the other companies can be contacted and say, by the way, thank you very much.
I would, I'll leave it open.
Till the 21st?
Yeah, I would leave it open and just say we're gonna decide on it. We should put something together as far as recommendations, you know, to the board. I mean, Dr. Mackey, the administration doesn't need to do that, needs to come from us, you know, a recommendation.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Yes, yes.
Right, Dr. Mackey, you agree? Yeah. And, you know, I think we should have everybody here and say, you know, we're gonna decide on a.
Well, invite them to be at the meeting?
Yeah. I mean, there's been plenty of times when we're deciding on certain things and the other, like insurance, you know, the other people, they didn't get, they didn't, you
Or
know.
just welcome them to be here if they want to? Or?
Well, you can just put it on the agenda, we're gonna decide, you know.
Right,
We're
right.
going to, it's an action item to pick the search firm.
You could, yeah, leave it up to them if they wanna show
If
up.
they wanna show up, they show up, if they don't, then.
But notify them, Jackie?
I can send an email tomorrow, thank you for coming and let them know that if they'd like to attend,
You are welcome to attend. It'll be on the agenda for the 21st. Okay.
They may wanna come back if we have any questions, you know. if,
Like some
you
of
know,
them. Yeah, okay, I like
And if the board has any questions for
Not
us.
me in the travel room, they said second one.
No,
Yeah, that's for candidates, Jim.
that's what,
You have to.
okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, I know that you mentioned you referred to check their references.
Yes.
But this process is sort of like a procurement process where we should not have direct one-on-one with any of the vendors, speaking of vendors right now.
Right, we're talking about the reference.
About, not, yeah, references can, but I just want to be clear that we should have no extended dialogue with them outside of this board.
That's the practice that you guys have.
Okay, I'm comfortable with that, I just want to make sure.
But yeah, just so we're clear, they're professional services, so we don't have to be as strict with the procurement statute. However, you guys have always been pretty, as a practice, like, you're not gonna talk to them between now and the 21st. You're gonna do your background check, and then on the 21st, y'all decide. But you can, but obviously your board president, your spokesperson, he may call them with a question, or if y'all choose to have them follow up.
I
Okay, the next item is discussion regarding district goals for the 2014-2015 school year. And I believe you have a copy of the,
Yes, sir.
oh,
These are the goals. Oh, did you already get some?
no, I have mine. It should be the same one, right? Oh, yeah. And we'll just go over each goal if we feel we need to change or discuss or whatever. Is that okay? The first one would be to meet or exceed Texas Education Agency standards on STAR and prepare students for higher education and workforce. I think that's what we want anyway, right? To exceed.
I just wanna,
Yes.
as we go through this, I'd like to go through the district ones by themselves.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Okay, so with that in mind, I would like to hear from the superintendent on if he feels we need to change, any of the district goals, or if what we have had written in the past has been doable, not, too vague, too specific. I wanna hear his opinion on the district goals, so.
District Goal 1.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's been fine.
You just said meet, or exceed.
Or exceed,
The
right.
district goals, meet or exceed, yeah, that's fine. There's, the Texas Education have some different standards in respect that, are we talking about the overall goal with every school in the state of Texas? Or they have a tier where you within a group of districts that look just like you? They've broken it down and see, because when I look at the index, it says student achievement, student progress, closing performance gap, and all components and STAR components only. And it's just like this year, last year we got 13 distinctions, and this year we got 40. We've tripled it this year, the distinctions. So I need to know which one are you talking about?
Well, what do you think?
I-
What is your recommendation? Because if you're talking about as a district, so,
Yeah.
like Mr. Sawyer said, what is your recommendation as the educator?
I think we need to, I think the state, I think we need to improve on our performance every year. We need to see improvement. Not with I can't compare with the state because we can't compare with a Westlake or Highland Park and things, but we need to see improvement in every area every year. We need to meet or exceed improvement of the prior year.
So if we see these goals up here.
Yes.
Where we're at.
Yes.
Do we use that as a benchmark?
That's correct, yes.
And say we
Yes,
wanna
that's
improve
correct,
that?
yes. That's right.
So instead of the word exceed, we could substitute the word improve. To meet or improve.
We're talking about our district, just
Yes.
our district.
Uh-huh.
This is what we're at our district.
Right.
I think we should say to improve on an annual basis the education standards set by the district.
And when we do
Or
math,
achieved by, not set by the district, but, improvement on the,
But you gotta have to meet.
Yes, you gotta meet or
We
exceed.
gotta meet whether or
Yeah.
not we improve. So
Meet or
say, for
exceed
example,
in all
we didn't meet,
categories.
We still gotta, we have to go all the time
We-
to
we-
meet, but
You
we
can-
don't wanna be stagnant, is
No,
what I hear you
no,
saying.
that's
Or
right.
we wanna improve on what we were.
That's correct. And
I'm sorry,
And, you can put our performance from year to year, because that's what we're looking at.
okay. You got that?
Mhm.
what are category
Oh.
packets? English, math,
science,
what are we written?
Well,
Well, in the first one, we don't have categories because we're talking about higher ed and workforce readiness. Down further, you'll see those categories.
It's math, science, social studies, English language arts, and reading. That's the five. See, remember, this year is the first year, it's five, and we're talking about all five categories.
Yeah, I think that's clear by the words Texas Education Agency standards. That means that.
It's just, you need to see the district standards,
Meet or exceed the district standards in all 5 categories.
because whatever the district is, you want to meet it.
That's a
I don't want it
superintendent's
to
goal.
just be the district standards, because some districts don't have a very high standard. We have to meet, the law says we have to meet the state standards. So we have to, at a minimum, meet the state standards, but we don't wanna just be satisfied with meeting. That's where when you were saying improve. Like you did, like you just said, we went from 14.
No, 13 to 40.
13 to 40. So we improved. I know you had your hand up, Mr. President, in there, so we'll just recognize you.
No, what I wrote down is, Dr. Mackey makes a very good point, but so do you. So I wrote down, because you do want, these are aspirations.
Wait 1 second, John. We need you to sit at a mic because, when the tape is played, they won't hear you and
How's this better? Is that better?
Yeah, sit up there, one of them chairs right there. Turn your mic on, and I'll turn it around on this.
Okay, no, all I did is I just combined it because you do want to meet or exceed, because you're required to meet the standard. So you got to have that in. Your goals are your aspirations, you know. And Dr. Mackey makes a good point, though, is that you want to have some relation to the previous year. So I put to meet or exceed Texas Education Agency standard on STAR and improve from previous year, semicolon, and prepare students for higher ed and workforce readiness. So I just included with Dr. Mackey. And then y'all could go down in his superintendent goals and break it down more specifically for him, because he made also another good point. Y'all are at, you know, so many 40 compared to the year before, so maybe next year you want him to do more. And that's where you break it down into his superintendent specific goals, which we're going to talk about in closed. But that was just what I wrote down as a suggestion.
I like that. I just would only have one and. Did you say and twice?
I said, you could use a comma instead, yeah.
Yeah, I'd use a comma. So I'm gonna read back to you what you said for Jackie. To meet or exceed Texas Education Agency standards on STAR, comma, improve from previous year, and prepare students for higher education workforce readiness.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Is that okay, sir?
Good work there. We might pay you tonight.
Maybe.
Sounds good to me.
Okay? Goal number 2, to spend money wisely, efficiently, and equitably by maintaining a superior rating, I think which we got, earning an unqualified opinion letter, and maintaining a fund balance that is aligned with board policy. And I think there's a board policy, sir,
Yes.
that say keep it under a certain,
Keep it
keep it
over.
above a certain percent, right?
That's correct.
Is that right? Okay. I don't have a problem with that. Ms. Ada or Mr. Flores?
That sounds good to me.
Okay, Mr. Sally?
Good, that's what we want.
I'm good. I'm just not remembering what is the board policy.
I believe it's 3 months
No,
expenses.
2.5 months.
2.5 months, is that what it is?
Of salary.
So,
We do 10 million a month, so it's,
so is it only salary or is it expenses?
No, it's 26, 27 million.
Yeah. But Jose mentioned it.
Yeah,
But it'll
Yeah.
change
right.
as our numbers change.
that's correct.
So it's not just
Increases.
salaries, it's expenses.
It's just,
We spend about 10
everything, it's the entire budget for that month.
2.5 months.
Yeah.
2.5
We're about-
months,
and
2.5
we're at 10
months.
million a month right now,
Yes,
Okay.
so it's 25 million. 26.
Approximately.
okay?
Okay, goal 3. Oh, that was goal.
District goal 3.
Oh, yeah. No, we just did 3, right?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
2.
Okay, now we're going to District Goal 3. To improve communication with all stakeholders by creating additional information pathways with increasing participation. And I believe we have the local, is that the paper? Mr. PR man, Linscomb
Linscomb?
came up with that one, have a question, or what was it? new program he came up
Talk,
with?
yes.
Talk, let's talk.
Let's talk, yeah.
So that has been, and what else? Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
I mean, we've kind of saturated. I mean, do we really need that goal in there anymore? I mean, what else can we do?
I think that goal needs some, improvement or change. Perhaps what, I wanted to suggest is that we change the goal to be a little bit more of community involvement, parental involvement, and not so focused on, because we have come a long ways in improving our communication. So now we've got communication. Now, if we can work on involvement and, yes, yes, sir.
Community involvement, parent engagement, what else?
I'm not good at wordsmithing, I just have a.
Yeah.
So you could.
I'm thinking like continue expanding communications with stakeholders
Comma.
and increasing participation, via.
Increase
whatever,
parental
PTA.
participation.
Oh, parental, yeah. Okay.
Well, you just don't want parental involvement.
No.
Community.
Community,
Now, I like
right.
what you said, but I don't think the words will sound.
Yeah, I'm
So
just.
let's get the.
No,
word.
he's
So
just-
what
he's
can you
giving
do? Help us
ideas.
with the word.
Jack?
No, I meant the lawyer.
Sure. Okay, so you want to improve, continue to improve communication with all stakeholders by creating additional information pathways with increased participation of, you want to just use the word stakeholders?
We don't want the same words like that, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You want
But no,
community
but you,
involvement,
but,
parental?
okay, so you want the community increase involvement from the
Yes.
community?
How about
Or
to
do you want
improve?
to, community and stakeholders?
Yeah.
Or community,
The
stakeholders?
stakeholders are the community.
Right, well, stakeholders are businesses,
It's all community.
They're all community.
parents, but do you want to be specific in the word, is what I'm asking?
We want to change the stakeholder word to community.
Okay.
Is that, Mr. Selly, you had something?
No, I was just gonna say, to improve communication with all stakeholders and our Judson community.
Well, you want to, I think she wants to include the word,
I don't think we want to use stakeholders.
I don't want to use stakeholders this time.
Or they just use community.
It's kind of stiff.
I
Yeah,
think that's what I said,
community
continue
is more
expanding
friendly.
communication with
What do you
community.
think, Dr.
And
Mackey?
improve involvement with community.
To improve communication with the community by creating additional information pathways with increasing. No, that's,
Pathways we can.
I don't know.
Take out that creating additional information pathway.
take out
Like
that,
To improve communication with our community.
It should,
Continue
To continue,
expanding our.
communication with the community.
Period.
Yeah, that's it.
Period.
but you wanted to use the word involvement, so you want to
Yeah,
improve,
we're gonna do
you
more.
want to improve communication with the community and involvement with the community.
That's fine.
So you want to improve communication and involvement with the community.
yes.
Simple.
Yeah.
And if you look down at the superintendent's goal, that's where we gave him, that's what we actually said, because if you look at his goal was, campus level cultural and increasing opportunities to participate. So what we're actually doing is we're saying, okay, you did the communication piece. Now the district as a whole, we're gonna work on that other part.
And actually, the word involvement, I'd like to use engagement. You want people engaged, and that's another way of saying involvement.
Community engagement.
Yep. We want them involved, and we want them engaged in the activity.
Engage probably, yeah, why not? Maybe that they're more, well, it's the same.
So
thing.
so
That it's
improve,
I think about
Okay.
it more. But I like-
improve communication.
No, I'll continue.
To continue.
Oh, okay. To continue to improve communication and engagement with the community.
I'm good with that.
You don't want to narrow it too much,
Right.
Jan, are you okay with that change from engagement to
I am,
involvement?
I'm just trying to, he got engagement, so I'm just trying to think, do we need to have, do we need to say anything about increasing participation, or we're gonna put that in the superintendent's part?
I'd like to improve community engagement and communication, to improve
To continue to
communication and engagement. to improve communication and engagement with the Judson community.
That sounds good.
I'll tell you, and maybe I'm just being real technical on words. I mean, engagement and involvement are similar, but they're not the same.
I really like involvement, but maybe, you know,
'Cause
he knows something
engagement-
I don't know.
Engagement means, you know, you're
You're involved.
communicating, you're talking.
Right.
But involvement is a.
They're volunteering. They're here,
yeah,
they're participating.
So it's
Exactly.
a little different.
That's
but-
why I was saying, do we need
but
that
it's up to
word
y'all.
about participation?
But we do want to expand our,
Engagement.
You
our
do,
engagement.
you want to do
We
both.
always have that problem where we.
Yes.
You want to do both.
Go,
You want to
and so I don't
engage more
know
folks
exactly-
and get them
I don't know
involved.
what the superintendent, what more he can do, you know, you can. you can
Well,
have a
it's,
party
but see,
and
it's a
nobody
district
comes.
goal,
Yeah,
so
I
that's
understand
all of
that.
our,
I understand that, but.
well, what if we use the engagement word and then we have, something with that participation that we had? You see?
Yeah.
But I'm not telling you how to word it now.
We're getting
I'm just
too
telling you
wordy.
the pieces.
We're getting wordy.
You're on the same page, I think.
To
Everyone's on the same
improve
page, just a matter of
communication and
wording.
engagement with the community. Period.
We've improved communication to a point.
We have.
That's why I'm saying to continue to expand.
Oh, that's a good word. Instead of improve.
We got internet, we got phone banks, we got.
For family and community engagement month in September, and in there it states parental involvement and community engagement is what it's listed.
That's why you're the secretary. Okay, can you repeat that so we all can get it?
No, we heard her. We just have to make a
Oh,
sentence
you
now.
wrote it down?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so let's
Is
go
that
back,
okay,
Gilbert, here a
Mr.
second.
Sally?
Yep, that's what we're missing. So, Gilbert, we have to continue to expand, so far so good? Communication with community engagement and parental involvement.
I have
Come on, I'm listening.
communication is what I put between them and us with them.
Well, it's more than two-way communication, because we're talking about communication across the district.
Right, right.
So it's communication with our business, communication,
Yes.
so that's why I wouldn't put in the two-way, because then that limits
Oh, I
it
see,
more.
I see. Did
But-
you, did you get it, Jack?
Was that okay?
That sounds
Yeah.
Read it one more time. June, you got it.
To continue to expand communication with, and you can tell me if it's with or by, with community engagement and parental involvement.
Got it?
It's, I don't know if it's through,
Through, yeah, I think
is it
that-
through community engagement?
Through community engagement, yeah.
I think so.
Because the communication is going through and, okay,
I think
read it again.
Either way,
So I know where to put it.
By, with, or through, either one of those, those three, either one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get the
Goal
English
number-
teacher, whichever one's right English word.
Oh, goal number 4, to increase employee retention and satisfaction, making Johnson a premier employer, excluding, oh, that's
I
it.
think that is
Yeah, that
a
sounds
little bit too.
either
general.
eliminated or,
Well, I don't think we should eliminate it. I think human resources is important.
yeah.
But
The wording needs to
I
change.
think we need to change the wording.
To increase
We've had
employee
much
retention.
discussion about this,
Oh, yeah.
and so, what can we say, Dr. Mackey?
Or,
What kind of goal should we have as a district that has to do with employee retention, morale? You know, we cannot be the top paying, we know that. So, you know, the other things, you know, and Mr. Sally helped me because, you know, in leadership classes, they tell you about getting buy-in and,
Yeah, I mean, here, it's something like, through cultural change, make Judson a premier employer in Bear County.
cultural change, huh? I don't know, that's a sticky one.
That's just, you think culture's too, too black-white?
But that- But you
I
have to
know what
think, what are
culture
the
means.
people going to see
Yeah.
that read the goal?
Okay,
Not
just
what do we think?
I just think the goal's fine the way it is.
make Judson a premier employee in Bear County.
I think it's fine.
To
What do you
make-
think, Dr.
in
Mackey?
Making Judson a premier employer in Bear County?
Yes. Make Judson a premier employee in Bear County.
Still a goal.
How about making Judson a premier employee in Bear County by increasing retention and morale?
I like that.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yes.
Because we may not satisfy them on morale, yes.
Right, right.
We just, I like that.
Well,
I like the reversing that to start with
And
the.
changing
Yes.
the
The problem with the retention part, okay, we haven't been able to measure it correctly.
Okay.
And that goes back on the superintendent's goal. Yeah, to increase employee retention, we haven't been able to really measure that retention part.
And we'll discuss that, with the superintendent.
I think you should leave retention out of it.
And retention is important
No, the way
because,
he said it, Mr. Flores.
yeah, I like just changing it around and taking out satisfaction and putting in morale.
Say
We
again.
can't satisfy everybody, but we can have good morale.
Making Judson a premier employer in Bear County by increasing employee retention and morale.
Did you get that, Jackie?
By increasing, can you say that last time?
By increasing employee retention and morale, and, employee morale.
Yeah, employee morale.
I got it.
You got it?
Yep.
I like that.
got
You
it?
like that, Richard?
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
And I
no.
believe that's all for district goals. Let's go to board goals. Board goals are the district goals? Yeah. Oh, is that what it is?
Actually, we made a,
Oh, yeah, I see it, I see it. So all of that's gonna change, Mr.
Yep, we got it.
Right, okay. Okay, Dr. Mackey has a request.
You know, I have requests from the board. We have the district goals, which is the board goals.
Yes.
Whenever we set goals, I sit down with my cabinet and we go over it, because I like for all of them to buy in and have a say-so when we develop that, because they don't want to have to do that, work with me every day. It's not just me doing it. I have a cabinet got to be on board with what we're doing. So I would like to bring back and present something to you all to add to that.
On the superintendent
On the
goals.
superintendent goals.
okay.
On the superintendent goals. We can do that at the next regular
Now
board
that
meeting.
you know.
I know what the
board
district-
and the district
Yeah,
goals-
now,
Can we maybe go in just for a few minutes so we can kind of give you an idea? Then when you go with your cabinet, then you can have it a little maybe more fine-tuned? We're going to close session. We're not talking about it in here. Yeah, not to set it, but, from the ones we had, maybe where we are. And then when you talk to your cabinet, then you can bring us something like in kind of a more final. Oh,
That's why I want to make sure.
okay.
Yeah, they changed, a lot of things changed. That's the deal, we can't do that, and all of a sudden, we work on things that's not relevant, what we need to do.
So when are we gonna come back and do this?
Next regular board meeting.
Come here.
Yes.
We got that search form. Well, anyway, I'm willing to postpone it, so then we can see when it is, whatever.
Give me a chance to.
I'm okay, y'all.
Mr. Sally? Okay.
Huh. Well, so that's where y'all leaving? I'd like us to consider in our memory, though, actually doing this at a separate time than the regular board meeting. This just, it gets too crazy and people get crazy and, gentlemen, thank you. I think we had a good meeting tonight and everybody's input was great. I think we made a good first impression with our search firm. Meeting is adjourned, Mr. President. Don't need a motion.
This meeting is now adjourned at 8:38. Thank you, sir.
I got it.